G'day, legends. It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here. Before we get stuck into another great interview brought to you by Crannk.com and thatmetalstation.com, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, and that way you can keep up to date with all the best music and interviews from all over the world. There we go. Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with Crannk.com and with thatmetalstation.com. Tonight, wherever you are in the bloody world, I'm having a chat with Dan Kaufman, bassist for Eye of the Destroyer out of New Jersey, man. Their latest single, What Goes Around Comes Around, came out 10th of June. And I'm fucking really glad I come across you guys. Really, really enjoying it. And please for making some time to have a chat with me.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate you.
First off, man, I want to find out kind of where you guys came from and kind of the beginnings. Can you give me like the a kind of a rough version of how you guys started as Eye of the Destroyer?
Well, we were a bunch of dudes that have been playing together for like forever, 20 years or so. Since we were in high school, we've been playing around different bands. And Eye of the Destroyer just came about through just a bunch of friends like linking up and making some music together. And we definitely had some lineup changes. A couple guys came, a couple guys went, but the core has stayed the same since the beginning. We started right around Halloween 2013, so that's a long ass time ago at this point. But I've been in the band playing bass about 7 years, and it's been a roller coaster, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, man. It's been an awesome experience. Greatest thing ever.
Yeah, well, tell me a little bit about how you first started playing bass. Tell me a little bit about how you began playing bass and some of your influences as well, my friend.
Oh, sure. Definitely. My mother was a musician, so I had it in the blood, and I've always just been a music guy. Just listening to classics, classic rock, all that stuff. Listening to the Thin Lizzy and the Kiss and all the cool stuff, and Motorhead, and then Sabbath, and all that old stuff. And then I would say I definitely got into heavy metal when I got into Pantera. I'm about 35 now, so I was like 13 or something like that, right around the reinventing the steel days. And so I was able to catch at the tail end of their last tour. I saw Pantera. Somebody irresponsible took me to Pantera at 13 years old with Morbid Angel and Soulfly, and I believe Slayer was on that tour. It was just like the trial by fury, but trial by fire or whatever. But it was awesome, and I got addicted to it, man. It was like the coolest thing I ever experienced ever. Soulfly, it was like, what the fuck is this? It was the coolest shit ever 20 years ago, and it's still badass to this day. But ever since then, I started going to shows, local shows. We had a place called Birch Hill in Old Bridge, about 5 minutes away from where I grew up. So, and they had these mainstream acts, and then they had more underground shows too, hardcore shows. But they had I remember seeing Anthrax and Motorhead one in the span of a week, Soulfly, like I mentioned. But then there's all these underground bands that I would see, and that got me into hardcore and stuff like that. E-Town Concrete was playing all the time, and NJ Bloodline, and just all these old school hardcore bands were playing around the same time. And I was going to all these shows by myself, and I just got addicted to it. So everybody was playing guitar or drums, and I just figured, hey, if I'm gonna have a shot here, I got to play the bass. So I started playing bass full time, all the time. And it's 20 years later, man. I'm still doing the same shit with the same guys, and I couldn't be happier about it. To be honest, It's all.
It's really
all
cool
good.
that someone did take you across, Danny, to these shows as well. And you mentioned Soulfly a couple of times there. It sounded like that had a huge impact on you as well, seeing, Max as it did for me. Like when I seen him first time as Soulfly, I was a huge Sepultura fan. You mentioned Pantera. My sister brought home a Pantera tape when I was younger as well. And chuck this on, bro. Check this out. And for Soulfly, man, that I was a huge Max Cavalera fan as well, man. Just the way he writes music as well, and having those influences across all genres. If you listen to Soulfly, you get those hardcore influences in it as well. He was heavily influenced by punk, and dude, for me, like that was like my first tattoo ever, dude. Soulfly, like that's how much I love the guys. I'm like, fucking, what a huge Soulfly tattoo across here. My tattooist is like, it's gonna cost this much, and I'm like, just make it a fucking little one up here as well. So for me, those bands you mentioned were a big influence on me as well.
The craziest thing about Soulfly and all those bands, I was just talking to my bandmates about this the other day. It was like how they could be doing something like a riff, right? And you could take 9 out of 10 bands, they'll play the same riff, but they're not playing it the way Soulfly plays it. So they're not going to have the whole place jumping like Soulfly's got the whole place jumping. It's just the way they play it, not so much how they're playing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
How they're playing, not what they're playing. Let me phrase it like that.
And he just has so much energy. It's great to see him as up there as one of the heads and the legends of the metal scene for Max as well. Yeah. Lucky enough to interview the guy as well. But back to you guys. I have the Destroyer, man. Can you tell me a bit about, because like I noticed you said you started 2013 roughly with you guys, but it kind of seems you didn't start doing releases like that we could buy anyway, that I could see for digitals back from the Plagued with Regret. Is that because you've released some locally, or was it? Tell me a little bit about that process, man.
We dropped several records. There's several EPs out
Physicals.
there. Physicals. And it kind of comes in cycles. We'll write a bunch of songs with like an EP or an album in mind, and then we'll put it out there, and then we kind of like move just naturally progress in a different manner the next writing cycle. And we always we were touring a lot before the whole world shut down. We were playing upwards of like 100 shows a year, something like that, which is just a lot. It was intense. And we went all the way to California. We went to Lake Tahoe for to the Hard Rock for a festival and over there. And we went all the way, up and down the East Coast and all around the country, and we toured a lot, and we had an awesome time doing it. We made a shit ton of friends and just cool people, met a shit ton of cool people along the way, and had a great time doing it. And then the world kind of shut down on us, so we had to we had to make some decisions and keep on trucking, man. We couldn't play shows anymore, but we all still like making music together. And, we all still just have the fire burning in us. So I know I am itching to get back out there. And this new single, What Goes Around Comes Around, is basically a representation of the new lineup that we have. We have our original drummer, Dave Mericle, joined us in the group again, which we're really lucky to have him and fortunate to have him back. And the chemistry with all the guys has been awesome, and we're just happy to be jamming. And that's basically, you're hearing the new vibe coming out of that one, and we have a shit ton of new songs coming out following that. And it's all just getting progressively heavier and heavier and heavier, and that's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, well, I fucking love I love hardcore music. I love punk music. I love all metal music, but I like that with hardcore music, there's a message to it, and you can have a fucking political message, or with this one, what goes around comes around. It's kind of, remembering that person that's kind of standing over you almost. For me, that's what I was getting out of it. You know what I mean? And now the tables are turned, mate. It's like, you've got to give me respect. You know what I mean? It should always be you respect each and every single person. You know what I mean? But if you've got that person kind of disrespecting you, remember what goes around comes around, mate.
Oh man, there's like, it's cliche, but there's sometimes you gotta be as direct as possible, right? And karma's a bitch, and there's no nice way of saying what goes around comes around. And if you're you're a piece of shit, you're gonna get it back, baby. That's how it goes.
It is, man, and I really dig the sound you guys have. Like I'd heard a track from you before. Curtis has sent one over. I think it was last year. I'd heard you guys, and I was like, man, I got to hear more of this. And this time around, Curtis is like, you keen to have a chat with the guys, man? It gave me a real good chance to go back and dive into your music. And as you mentioned, like the world kind of shut down on you over COVID, but you were able to still keep busy and, you know, doing releases like that Wolf Your Feet EP, man. That is beast, as well as that Baptized in Pain, man. I had them cranking this morning at 6 a.m., man, and they are just some meaty jams, man. What was it like for you, that period, still being able to make music and connecting together as a band?
It was rough. It was a rough patch altogether. Everyone was going through their own shit, and there was definitely just a lot of issues, even getting those, just getting it to be a thing that was heard. But god damn, am I happy that it was heard and we got it out there, because fucking records that you just mentioned, the Wolf You Feed and Baptized, but you know, just being able to release that and have the world listen to it is so important, because from start to finish, those are fucking beast albums, especially the Wolf You Feed. So, I mean, it speaks for itself, brother. Like, you start that shit and it just kicks your ass the whole way through. And we're trying to ride that kind of, that velocity, that tenaciousness into this next, the releases that we're doing now. And I feel like we got this energy, we got this aggression, this pissed off thing going that's working. Like the Wolf You Feed, we're just gonna keep flowing with that. And it's going in an even more hardcore direction. We're hitting our hardcore roots a little bit more, even more so than that. And people have been digging it, man. So I think we're just gonna keep following in that direction, you know, because
it's going to be a bit of a Wolf Your Feed at the moment, because you guys are going to be chomping at the bit to get out there and play some of these live as well. You know, you said the last couple of years, and it's a big part of a band, like any band starting coming up through. You said you were playing hundreds of shows live. That's how much work you have to put into this game, you know, behind the scenes to actually get anywhere, you know. But releasing albums and then not being able to play live as well behind it is, you know, a big part of the scene. Being able to play live with those albums when you release them to the fans, for them to be able to go, fuck, okay, walk over and buy. Because when you play these shows, it's about buying merch and supporting your band as well, getting along, buying tickets early, going to these shows, and, you know, connecting with these fans for you guys.
Right. If you go and you're able to play these songs and you're able to see it actually hit a crowd of people and just see that reaction, that visceral, everybody is just moved at the same exact fucking moment that you want everybody to move. And you planned this like 6 months ago, and you're like, it's gonna happen. You just see it in your head. But you can't actually see it in person, you know, because there's no shows. And then you finally get a chance to do that. It's like, it's incredibly satisfying. And I'm just, there's so many songs that we have to choose from at this point, because it's like 2 years of songs, and we're gonna have to cut some down and make some picks. But to be honest, we have some shows lined up. Nothing is set in stone. Nothing is like is announced yet, so I'm hesitant to announce anything, but definitely by the end of the summer or midsummer or whatever, even maybe next month, we're gonna play some stuff, and we're gonna get back out there. We're gonna see if this shit hits these people the way it's supposed to. And I have every bit of faith that it's gonna just be the coolest fucking thing ever. So can't wait to get back.
Oh, that's it. And how's the scene going over your way? I'm enjoying the way. I know over here in Australia, I'm very optimistic. I'm going to shows. I'm seeing a lot of people out, seeing some great albums drop. How are things going over your way coming out of all of this, dude?
It comes and goes in waves. The scene definitely seems to be opened up back up. So there's definitely a lot of shows going on, and I'm seeing big shows, and I'm seeing people go out there. I've even attended some nice, you know, big kick-ass shows where everyone's having a great time. Sometimes the COVID stuff comes back, and you know, you start seeing a little bit more Fear come back and some more Mass, this and that. But it seems like 75% open, if that makes sense to you, brother.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's good to see. I'm going to get you, bro, to pick off a couple of tracks for me, but I want you to pick off one off of The Wolf You Feed and one off of Baptized in Pain, and then tell me briefly why you're picking these tracks.
Okay. Well, for the starters, I'm going to go with, I guess I got to go with Reversed from The Wolf You Feed, because that's just so goddamn heavy. Like, there's not a person on the fucking planet that can tell me that Reversed isn't heavy as motherfucking anything else. So play that one, bro, please.
Done, man. That's a killer track too, man. That, like I said, man, I had that cranking this morning, man, and I was like, dude, these are the jams to be cranking in the morning. Nothing like some good meaty metal, bro.
As far as Baptized, I'd say Face Down is a crusher. We played that. That was up in our set up until we played like New York Death Fest a couple years ago. That was like probably our closer. So maybe we'll go with Face Down from Baptized in Pain.
Awesome, man. And you guys also, as you briefly mentioned, I've noticed you guys are also working towards some more stuff. So everyone kind of needs to keep their eyes and ears peeled, because I dare say he's going to have an EP or an album coming as well.
Yeah. So we're shopping an EP to a couple different labels. We're trying to figure out the best possible way to get our EP out to as many listeners as possible. That's the main goal to any musician that's writing anything that's like worth its grain of salt. You know, you gotta worth its weight in salt. You gotta write something good, and if you do write something good, you want it to be heard, right? So we're trying to figure out the best way to get these EPs out to the most amount of people. We have literally 2 finished right now. We have one and that's been done, mixed, mastered, and then we have another one that's finished and waiting to be mixed and mastered. But they're both it's kind of like a part 1, part 2, in my opinion, because they were written pretty much back to back, and they're very much in the same vein, and they're very much brutal as shit. Like, all the songs kind of flow with each other, but they're all very special and unique in their own way. And it might be the best route in 2022, almost 2023, to like release one a month.
Yeah.
And just let the world have one a month to just sit on and appreciate. And then, you know, maybe that's the best way. We're kicking around ideas, man. But for now, what goes around comes around just came out 2 weeks ago, and it has got some legs, baby. It's everywhere. Spotify, Amazon Music, everywhere you can listen to it. That is absolutely the best representation of our new sound and what the next EP or 2 and what the future of Either Shore is going to sound like is what goes around comes around. So just want everybody to enjoy the past songs. I want everybody to enjoy the new songs, and anybody that's ever listened to us in general, just, you guys are the best, man. We appreciate this fucking shit out of you guys.
That's perfect, Danny. I reckon we might leave that there, man. I'll usually ask for last words and shout outs, man, but that was absolutely perfect, my friend. Thank you very much for making some time to have a chat with me. Everyone, Eye of the Destroyer, go grab it. Besides those other links you mentioned there, Amazon and Spotify, I do want to ask, is there any other place? I noticed Bandcamp, I've got all the albums in my wish list. I'm going to go buy them all. Is there any other sites that are good for you guys for support as well?
Yeah, man. Just want to shout out highpotencyproductions.com. That's High Potency Productions, like that strongest weed that you can get, that high potency shit. That's what we're trying to hit you with. highpotencyproductions.com. That's where you can get all the Either Destroyer merch. Like I said, anybody that's ever dug our music, bought our music, supported us in any way, you guys are the fucking best. Love you guys, and thank you so much again, Kai, for having us.
That's the absolute pleasure, brother. Eye of the Destroyer, what goes around comes around, came out 10th of June. Put it in the stereos, like Danny said, cranking up really fucking loud. The neighbors are going to want to hear this one. Cheers, my friend. You take it easy.
Cheers,
Thank
brother.
you very
Thank
much.
you.
Cheers, bro.